Caitlin Clark lost her cool and let her frustrations out on the sidelines despite setting an unbelievable record. Caitlin Clark made history once again. This time, the Indiana Fever superstar had 19 assists against the Dallas Wings, which is a WNBA record for the most assists in a single game. Now, if you have been following Caitlin for a while, this should not come as a surprise. Her playmaking was one thing that translated to the pros right away. Her shot, meanwhile, it's taken some time to adjust. Now, unfortunately for Caitlin, another thing that translated to the WNBA is the high turnovers. One such turnover caused her to lose her mind, and a poor water bottle was on the other end of her frustration.
Two teams that desperately want to win, diving on the floor, leaving it all out there.
Welcome back to Dallas. Caitlin Clark upset with herself. Just her second turnover of this half.
Now, this wasn't the first time, though, that her emotions got the best of her. Caitlin couldn't help but express frustration over the referees during the game between the Indiana Fever and the Phoenix Mercury. After the refs missed a blatant kickball, Caitlin could only hold her head in her hands and yell, "Wake up," toward the nearest referee. And if you're good at lip reading, then you would have easily deciphered her saying, "That's so bad," or "You're so bad." Caitlin has always been a passionate player. Even during her college days, she had several instances where her emotions got the best of her. In fact, her dad is always reminding her to stay calm and focus on the game. So it's not really a surprise to see her frustrated by a missed call. She even chastised refs for falling for flops and missing the actual play. Now, as for the reason for her frustration against Dallas, well, simply put, she's a winner. She wants to win more than she wants to set new records. The Fever started the season extremely poorly, and since then they have clawed their way back into playoff contention. With the season slowly coming to an end, each game matters more and more, so every win and loss counts. Against Dallas, Clark may have set the record for the most assists, but the game slipped out of her hand just as the ball did. With 45 seconds left, Fever were down 4 points. It was paramount for them to score. Of course, the playmaking duties fall on Caitlin's shoulders, so Dallas knew where the ball would be, and to their credit, they put enough pressure on Caitlin to cause a turnover. Clark was visibly frustrated after the whistle. After initially slapping the hardwood in anger, she returned to the bench where she received a bottle from a water boy and promptly spiked it along the sideline. Afterwards, she opened up about the frustrating loss.
Loss and the late turnover, or is it something that you'll like when you look back you'll savor it?
Yeah, the late turnover definitely kills, for sure. It's like fine line of they were up pressuring me, so then I kind of got behind them and was able to attack, and then I tried to pull it out and kind of lost my handle while getting poked from behind, so that one definitely killed.
Now, she might have also been frustrated because of how she has been officiated all year. There have been a few instances where opposing players have hit her with dirty shots that should have resulted in ejections but weren't. Not to mention the overly physical defense that is constantly played on her. The type of defense that wouldn't be tolerated against any other player, but for some reason against Caitlin, well, it's fair game. Fever coach Christy Sides has been vocal about what she perceives as unfair treatment towards Caitlin, arguing that the young star is being singled out by officials. Caitlin also echoed these sentiments, stating, "I think everybody is physical with me. They get away with things that probably other people don't get away with. It's tough, but that's just the fact of the matter." Against Dallas, she might have felt as if she was hacked during the play, but she didn't get the benefit of the call. And that would not be the first time that has happened. All in all, Caitlin is averaging 5.6 turnovers a game. Yikes. Now, as we mentioned before, turnovers have been a part of Caitlin's WNBA narrative. In the same game where she set the record for the most assists in a WNBA game, she also set the all-time WNBA season record for turnovers at 138. So there is some fuel for her haters. She famously started her WNBA career setting an unflattering record. Clark played her first regular season game on May 14th, scoring 20 points in a 92-71 loss to the Connecticut Sun. She also committed 10 turnovers, the most in a debut in WNBA history. Now, part of this had to do with the learning curve. The reality is that every WNBA player has heard the chatter for the past year or so about how this generational talent is about to come to the league and take over, and none of them want to be that team, which allows it to happen. On top of that, the Fever schedule was extremely tough. Not to mention the fact that Caitlin essentially had no break between her last college game and her first WNBA game. Usually, a rookie either rides the bench and slowly gets acclimated to the WNBA standards, or they don't have as much responsibility as Caitlin did. However, high turnovers come naturally with high usage. Take LeBron James, for example. He has the record for the most turnovers in NBA history. Other players in the top 10 include the likes of Westbrook, Kobe, Harden, and Jason Kidd. And another name that might shock you is John Stockton. Stockton holds the record for the most assists in NBA history by far. Like, no one is even close to him. And so he naturally had a lot of turnovers as well. Because when you have the ball in your hand and all the playmaking responsibilities on your shoulders, you will throw the ball out of bounds or get it stolen every now and then. Now, some of Caitlin's haters have tried to use this logic as a reason to give the Rookie of the Year award to Angel Reese. It's almost like they are trying their hardest to find a reason to slight Caitlin. They will either point to the high turnovers and say that she isn't a great playmaker, or they will argue that because her usage is so high, it is natural that she is getting all of these assists. So it's not really all that impressive. But let's be real, all of that is nonsense. It is something people use to drive their own narratives because they don't want to give Caitlin her credit. Maybe that's another reason why she has been frustrated in recent games. She knows that every little mistake will be picked apart by the media to make her look bad. She doesn't want to give them more fuel than they already have. But regardless of that, you cannot deny her greatness, no matter how hard you try. The single game assist record is just one of many this year. She has the record for the most consecutive point assist double-doubles in a rookie season, the most double-doubles by a rookie guard, the first rookie to record a triple-double, the single game leader in three-point field goals made by a rookie, and she is the youngest player to record a double-double with points and assists in back-to-back games. Now that is just the WNBA records. On top of that, she has 7 different records for the Indiana Fever. In just one short season, she has basically become an all-time great for the Fever franchise and left her mark in the history books. Now, if we were to discuss her NCAA and Iowa State records, well, we would be here all day. That is greatness. Her playmaking has elevated her Fever teammates as well. Aaliyah Boston is having the best season of her career and was named to the All-Star team. She also received the second most fan votes of any player. Caitlin and Aaliyah Boston became the first duo in Fever history to record 20-point double-doubles in the same game. Both of them were cooking the Mercury. However, that wasn't Caitlin's only accomplishment. She also had 7 first-quarter assists, which broke a franchise record. And on top of that, Caitlin's other teammate, Kelsey Mitchell, also made the All-Star team. Having Caitlin on the team does make it so much easier for her teammates to play their roles. Besides, all they really have to do is hustle and make the right cuts because Caitlin will find them thanks to her pinpoint passes, and even a few unbelievable bounce passes that leave the defense confused. So although there is one blemish on her game, the turnovers, the vast majority of it is so overwhelmingly positive. Besides, we love it when a superstar shows their true emotions because it shows that they really care about the game and about winning.